The atmosphere inside the studio of the Kelly Clarkson Show was charged with excitement. Crew members hurried back and forth, last-minute adjustments were being made to the lighting, and audience members chatted eagerly as the stage lights glowed a warm gold. The reason for the extra buzz that morning was clear: Jeff Daniels was in the building. The veteran actor, known for his commanding screen presence and unapologetic intelligence, had been making waves lately for his bold interviews about his new political film, The Republic's End. Critics were calling it provocative, daring, even incendiary. Kelly's producers knew this episode would draw attention, but no one could have predicted just how explosive it would become. Kelly herself was in high spirits as she rehearsed her opening lines backstage. Her team had briefed her that Jeff could be a little intense when discussing politics, but Kelly wasn't worried. She'd handled everything from emotional confessions to celebrity meltdowns on her show. Besides, she admired Jeff's work. "He's passionate," she told her executive producer with a grin. "I can handle passionate." The familiar theme music swelled, the cameras rolled, and Kelly walked out to a thunderous applause. "Hey, y'all, welcome to the Kelly Clarkson Show. We have an incredible guest today, an Emmy-winning, Tony-nominated legend, and one of my absolute favorite actors, Mr. Jeff Daniels." The crowd cheered as Jeff walked out, wearing a dark blazer and a thoughtful expression. He smiled politely, gave Kelly a quick handshake, and took his seat. "Thank you for being here," Kelly said, beaming. "My pleasure," Jeff replied, his voice smooth but measured. He adjusted his mic, glancing briefly at the cheering audience. They began easily enough. Kelly asked about his time filming in upstate New York, about his family, about the guitar music he occasionally recorded between movie projects. Jeff warmed up slightly, talking about small-town life and the inspiration behind his songwriting. Kelly nodded enthusiastically. The audience laughed when Jeff cracked a dry joke about aging actors and caffeine. But as the conversation shifted toward his new film, the tone began to change. "So, The Republic's End, wow," Kelly said, holding up the movie poster. "This film really goes there. It's got people talking." Jeff smiled faintly. "That was the goal," he said. "It's about America looking in the mirror, and not liking what it sees." Kelly chuckled nervously. "That's a bold way to put it. Some critics have said it's a little controversial." Jeff's gaze sharpened. "Truth usually is," he said simply. The audience gave a polite laugh, but Kelly sensed the edge in his tone. She decided to lighten things up. "You know, I think movies like this are important, but sometimes people just want a break from all the politics. Don't you think we could use a little less division and a little more joy?" Jeff's expression hardened. "Joy's great," he said. "But you can't heal a wound by pretending it's not there." The audience grew quieter. Kelly blinked, caught slightly off guard. "Oh, totally," she said, trying to keep the mood friendly. "But sometimes entertainment's supposed to lift people up, not weigh them down." Jeff leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "Art isn't supposed to make people comfortable, Kelly. It's supposed to make them think. To wake them up." The crowd murmured softly, sensing the tension beginning to rise. Kelly gave a polite smile. "I hear you," she said, "but I think people are already awake, maybe even too awake. The world's pretty heavy right now. I just like to give folks a little hope." Jeff nodded slowly. "Hope's good," he said, his tone calm but cutting. "As long as it's not used to ignore what's wrong. Hope without truth, that's just sedation." The air in the studio shifted. A few audience members exchanged uneasy glances. Kelly's smile faltered for the first time. "Well," she said, her voice still cheerful but tighter, "I like to think there's room for both truth and joy in the world." Jeff crossed his arms. "Sure, but only if we're brave enough to face the truth first." Kelly laughed lightly, trying to diffuse the moment. "You're definitely not afraid to speak your mind, Jeff. I respect that. Someone's got to," he replied. "Because if we all just sing songs about sunshine while everything's burning down, then what are we even doing?" That line landed like a slap. The audience gasped softly, unsure how to react. Kelly's eyes flashed, part hurt, part disbelief. "Wow," she said, forcing a laugh. "I sing a lot of songs about sunshine, so I guess I'm guilty as charged." Jeff didn't laugh. "You've got a big platform," he said. "People listen to you. Maybe use it to say something that matters." That was the moment the mood officially snapped. Kelly's charm faded, her tone sharpening just slightly. "I'd like to think spreading kindness does matter," she said. "We don't all have to yell about politics to make a difference." Jeff's eyes narrowed. Sometimes kindness is just silence in disguise. The studio fell silent. Even the camera operators seemed frozen. Kelly glanced toward her producer off stage, who was frantically signaling for a commercial break. But she wasn't ready to back down. "You know," she said evenly, "I invite people here to connect, to lift others up. Not to lecture them." Jeff's jaw tightened. "Maybe that's why no one's listening anymore," he said. Kelly blinked, taken aback. "Excuse me." Jeff leaned back in his chair. "Everyone wants to feel good. No one wants to feel responsible." The tension had reached a breaking point. Kelly's voice dropped lower. "This isn't the place for that kind of talk, Jeff. Not like this." "Then maybe this isn't the place for me," he said quietly. And before anyone could stop him, Jeff Daniels unclipped his mic, stood up, and walked off the stage. The audience gasped. Kelly sat frozen for a moment, her face a mixture of shock and disbelief. The cameras were still rolling. After a tense beat, she forced a shaky smile. "Well, that was unexpected," she said, turning to the audience. "But hey, live TV, right?" The crowd gave an awkward laugh. Kelly glanced off stage again, her professionalism barely holding. "We'll be right back after the break," she said, her voice steady but her eyes distant. The band started playing as the show cut to commercial, but backstage, chaos erupted. Kelly sat in silence for a few seconds after the lights dimmed, her smile finally falling away. The upbeat atmosphere that had filled the studio moments before had turned into a stunned hush. In the control room, the producer rubbed his forehead. "Did that just happen?" he muttered. It had, and everyone, from the crew to the audience, knew they'd just witnessed something unforgettable. A spark had been lit on live television, and it wasn't just drama for the cameras. It was something raw, real, and messy, the kind of moment that would ripple far beyond the studio walls. Backstage at the Kelly Clarkson Show, tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. The usual hum of laughter and movement was replaced by a nervous silence. Crew members whispered among themselves, exchanging uneasy glances. No one had ever seen anything quite like that. Jeff Daniels stood near the exit, pacing. A production assistant hovered nearby, unsure whether to approach. His face was set, jaw tight, eyes still blazing with the adrenaline of the argument. "You can't ask someone to come on and talk about truth," he muttered under his breath, "and then get upset when they actually tell it." Meanwhile, inside the studio, Kelly sat quietly in her chair as the crew prepped for the next segment. Her smile had faded, replaced by a subtle look of disbelief. She took a sip of water, trying to regain her composure before returning live on air. When the floor manager counted her back in, she inhaled deeply, straightened her posture, and put on her best professional smile. "Well, folks," she began as the camera light blinked red again, "sometimes live television doesn't go quite the way you expect." The audience chuckled nervously. "I think we just had what you might call a spirited conversation. But hey, that's what makes life interesting, right?" The crowd clapped, offering supportive cheers. Kelly nodded graciously, masking the flicker of irritation behind her eyes. "We've got some great music coming up," she continued, "so don't go anywhere." As soon as they cut to commercial again, she exhaled sharply. Her producer, Dana, rushed over. "You okay?" "I'm fine," Kelly said quickly, though her voice trembled slightly. "I just didn't expect that. He came in ready for a fight." Dana sighed. "He's been doing interviews like this all week. Fired up about his film, politics, the state of the world, you name it." Kelly frowned, brushing her hair back. "That's fine, but this isn't Crossfire. It's a daytime talk show. People come here to laugh, to feel good, not to be lectured." Dana nodded sympathetically. "We'll handle the edit, don't worry." But worry was exactly what Kelly did. She knew the moment would go viral. It was too dramatic not to. By the time the show wrapped that afternoon, clips were already circulating online. A studio intern nervously showed Kelly her phone. "It's trending," she said softly. The clip was everywhere, on X, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. The title varied, but the gist was the same: Jeff Daniels storms off Kelly Clarkson's show after heated exchange. The short video showed Jeff standing up mid-conversation, Kelly looking stunned, and the camera cutting just before he disappeared backstage. Within hours, thousands of comments poured in. Some sided with Jeff. Greater than, "Jeff Daniels just said what everyone's afraid to say on daytime TV." Respect. Finally, a celebrity not afraid to speak truth to fluff. Kelly tried to dodge real talk and Jeff wasn't having it. Others defended Kelly. Greater than, Kelly handled that with pure grace. He was way out of line. This is the Kelly Clarkson Show, not a debate club. She brings kindness to people. That's not fluff, that's humanity. By evening, entertainment blogs had picked it up. Headlines blared across newsfeeds. Jeff Daniels walks out on Kelly Clarkson, daytime drama erupts. Kelly Clarkson left speechless after Jeff Daniels' on-air meltdown. The interview that went too far. Producers at NBC scrambled to respond. Kelly's PR team advised her to stay calm and not feed the fire. Jeff's representatives issued a brief statement. Greater than, Mr. Daniels stands by his comments about truth in art. He did not intend to offend Ms. Clarkson and wishes her continued success with her show. But that didn't stop the chatter. The next morning, Kelly sat in her dressing room, scrolling through the comments on her phone. There were memes, reaction videos, even fan edits, some painting her as the innocent host blindsided, others labeling her too soft for real talk. She sighed and put the phone down. Her assistant knocked gently. You've got media calling. Entertainment Tonight, people, even The View wants a comment. Kelly waved it off. I'm not feeding it, she said. If I say something, it'll just blow up again. But deep down, she was hurt. Not because of Jeff's criticism, she'd dealt with tough guests before, but because of how personal it had felt. He hadn't just attacked her style, he dismissed her entire purpose. That afternoon, during her show's taping, Kelly addressed the controversy head-on. Her voice was calm, her demeanor poised. Yesterday's episode got a lot of attention, she began, smiling faintly at the audience. Sometimes, guests bring strong opinions to the table. And that's okay. I believe in real conversation, even when it's uncomfortable. But I also believe you can speak your truth without tearing others down. This show has always been about hope, kindness, and laughter, and that's not going to change. The audience erupted in applause. Kelly's smile brightened for real this time. Meanwhile, across town, Jeff Daniels sat in a quiet coffee shop reading an online article about the incident. His publicist had begged him not to comment further, but he couldn't shake the feeling that things had spiraled out of control. He'd gone on the show to talk about his film, to discuss art and integrity, not to become a viral meme. Yet somewhere between his passion and Kelly's warmth, the two had clashed like flint and steel. He wasn't proud of storming off, but he also wasn't ready to apologize. That night, during an appearance on Good Morning America to promote his movie, the topic inevitably came up. The host, Michael Strahan, grinned as he asked, Jeff, people are still talking about your walk-off moment with Kelly Clarkson. What happened there? Jeff chuckled softly, shaking his head. I think I got carried away, he admitted. Kelly's wonderful, smart, funny, and genuinely kind. I was fired up about my movie and the world, and maybe I let that passion take over. No hard feelings, though. I respect her. The clip circulated quickly. Fans praised his maturity. Kelly saw the interview later that afternoon. She smiled quietly and nodded. That's good, she said to her team. I can live with that. A few hours later, she posted on X. Greater than, respectful conversations can still have fire. No hard feelings, Jeff. Always room for honesty and kindness. Not long after, Jeff replied. Greater than, agreed. Next time, let's keep both. The internet loved it. The feud was officially over. By the end of the week, the story had lost its edge. A new celebrity scandal replaced it in the headlines. But for Kelly, the encounter lingered, a reminder that even the friendliest stages can become battlegrounds when ideals collide. Privately, she reflected on the experience. Jeff had challenged her worldview, yes, but he'd also reminded her why she did what she did. People needed truth, but they also needed compassion. And for Jeff, the walk-off became something of a lesson too. In his next interview, when asked what he'd learned, he smiled thoughtfully. That sometimes, he said, the hardest truth you can tell is the one you deliver with kindness. Kelly later sent him a handwritten note that read, "You're always welcome back, if we promise to play nice." Jeff wrote back, "Only if you sing, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Seems fitting. The moment that had started as a clash ended as mutual respect, two artists on different sides of a coin, realizing that passion and positivity weren't enemies at all. They were just different ways of reaching for the same thing, something real. And though millions had watched that fiery exchange unfold, few understood what it truly was, not just a celebrity walk-off, but a live moment of honesty, humanity, and imperfect truth, caught forever under the glare of studio lights.